Welcome back to Deadscape Diaries. Some stories don't start with ghosts or curses. Some start with a job posting, a chance to make a little cash, no questions asked, a quiet building, a night shift, just you, the dark, and whatever's been waiting in it. Tonight's story is one of those jobs, the kind that sounds easy until the rules start to make sense. See, there's something about abandoned hospitals. They remember things. The screams, the prayers, the last breath. They don't fade. They stay. And sometimes they answer back. So turn down the lights, get comfortable, and listen close. Because once you hear the rules, you might realize you've already broken one. I was 3 months behind on rent when I saw the ad. Night security needed. Ashbury State Hospital, $22 an hour. Must start immediately. Overnight shift only. No experience required. No background check. That should have been a warning, but I didn't care. I just needed the money. Ashbury State Hospital set off an old service road about 10 miles past town. The kind of place you only see once and remember forever. The parking lot was cracked, open by tree roots, and most of the windows had been boarded up decades ago. It looked abandoned, but the power was still on. Inside, the air smelled like bleach and dust, that sharp, chemical kind of clean that never hides the rot underneath. A man in a faded gray uniform met me by the reception desk. His badge said H. Collins. He didn't shake my hand or even look at me. He just handed me a clipboard with a single sheet of yellow paper and said, "Read these, follow them exactly, don't ask questions." The paper looked old, typewritten, not printed. 10 rules in all. 1. Make your rounds every hour, on the hour. 2. Do not enter the west wing after midnight. 3. If you hear someone call your name, do not respond. 4. The elevators do not work. If one opens, walk away. 5. Keep the lights on in the main hall. Always. 6. Between 2 and 3 a.m. Remain in the guard office. 7. Do not answer the phone unless it rings twice. 8. If you see a patient in uniform, escort them to room 9 and lock the door. 9. Never look inside room 9. 10. When you leave at sunrise, do not look back at the building. I looked up from the list, expecting him to laugh, but Collins was dead serious. He rubbed at his eyes, then said quietly, "I'll be honest with you, kid. I don't know why they still pay for security here, but the ones who don't follow the rules don't last long." I told myself he was just trying to mess with me. I'd worked worse jobs, but when he handed me the keys, his hands were shaking. My shift started at midnight sharp. The old clock behind the front desk ticked so loud I could feel it in my teeth. I tried to shake off the nerves. I told myself this was just another night job. Easy money. Watch the halls, keep the lights on, don't think too hard about the creepy rule sheet in my pocket. I started my first patrol through the east wing. The floors were a patchwork of cracked tile and dried footprints, like someone had tracked mud through years ago and had just stayed. Most of the rooms were empty, filled with dust and old wheelchairs. But what got me were the mirrors. Every few rooms had one, all covered with brown paper, taped along the edges. Some looked scratched from the inside. When I came around toward the main hall, the overhead lights flickered once, then again. Rule number 5 popped into my head. Keep the lights on in the main hall. Always. I tapped the wall switch a few times, and the bulb steadied, humming weakly. Then I heard it. Someone whispering. It was faint, coming from down the west corridor, the one I wasn't supposed to enter after midnight. I froze. The whispering got louder, like 2 people talking fast in another room. My name echoed through it, quiet, stretched out, like air being pushed through a throat that shouldn't work anymore. Michael. I turned toward the sound before I could stop myself. flashlight shaking in my hand. The west wing was pitch black. The door at the end cracked open just a few inches. I took a step forward. Then, rule number 2 flashed in my mind. Do not enter the west wing after midnight. I backed away slow, heart pounding. The whispering stopped. When I made it back to the guard office, the phone on the desk started to ring. One long tone, then silence. I stared at it. Rule number 7, do not answer the phone unless it rings twice. I waited. The second ring never came. At exactly 2 a.m., I locked myself in the office, like the rule said. I turned on the little TV in the corner, all static, except one channel, the hospital's own security feed. Room 9's camera flickered to life. For a moment, I thought it was just dust floating in the lens, until one of the shadows moved. By the time the clock hit 2:45 a.m., I'd already decided I wasn't coming back for another shift. The hospital was wrong. It breathed when it should have been silent. Air moving through vents that hadn't run in decades. Lights humming like they were alive. Every minute in that office, I felt something pushing against the walls, like the building itself was trying to keep something inside. The security feed flickered again. Room 9. At first, the screen showed only the empty hallway outside, washed in pale light. Then a figure stepped into frame. A patient, hospital gown, bare feet, head tilted at a strange angle, like his neck had forgotten how to hold him upright. He was facing the camera, and then somehow his mouth began to move. I turned the volume knob on the monitor. Static hissed, and then through the white noise, I heard it. You didn't lock the door. My stomach dropped. I checked the clipboard. Rule number 8. If you see a patient in uniform, escort them to room 9 and lock the door. But I hadn't seen anyone. Not until now. The monitor started to glitch, cycling through feeds on its own. The east wing, the lobby, the stairwell. Then it froze again. But this time, the camera was showing the guard office. I could see myself, sitting at the desk, watching the screen. And standing behind me, in the doorway, was a man in a hospital gown. I spun around, but the doorway was empty. The phone rang once. Silence. Then again. Twice. My hands shook as I picked up the receiver. Ashbury Security? A voice rasped through the line. Dry. Breathless. Like air leaking out of a bag. Rule 9. And the line went dead. The TV flickered back to room 9's camera feed. The door, which had been closed all night, was now wide open. A dark shape stood inside, motionless. The lights in the hall began to die, one by one, starting from the far end, moving toward the office. I grabbed my flashlight and ran. I don't remember choosing to go down that hall, but somehow I was there, standing outside room 9. The door was covered in deep scratches, like something had tried to claw its way out. The room inside smelled like rust and rot, thick enough to taste. There was something in the corner. At first, it looked like a pile of rags. Then, it moved. A face turned toward me, pale, wet, stretched too tight over the skull. Its mouth opened, and I heard my own voice echo from it. Do not look inside room 9. The lights exploded overhead. When I came to, it was daylight. My flashlight was dead, the clipboard was gone, the building was quiet again, like nothing had ever happened. I left the keys on the front desk and walked out without looking back. I don't know what's in room 9, and I don't want to know, but last night I dreamed I was back in that hallway, and I could hear the phone ringing, once, then again. If you ever find yourself walking the empty halls of a place that should have stayed buried, remember this. Some rules aren't meant to be understood. They're warnings left behind by the ones who didn't make it out. Ashbury State Hospital may have closed its doors years ago, but buildings like that don't stay empty. They breathe, they wait, and every night when the lights go out, the rules get rewritten for whoever's next on the clock. So, if you see the job posting, if the pay looks too good, and the first rule says keep the lights on, just turn around. Because once you start following the rules, it's already too late to stop.